Welcome to this video called How to Football. You're either here because you want to learn how football is played, or you just want a fun breakdown on how football is played. I got you! This is primarily for people who don't know much about anything about football. I'm talking how the game is played. So for the basics, we've seen the iconography before, right? The yellow fork, the ball, maybe even some X's and O's if you're a little more dialed in. But what the hell even are those things, and do they actually matter? Like any good book, we're going to start off with the setting. You're going to be in a major metropolitan area. We're going to use Atlanta as an example. In the middle of Atlanta, there is the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Wow, look at it. So pretty. One of the best in the NFL. And that's not me being hyperbolic. A football field is going to be 100 yards long, plus two 10-yard end zones, making a total of 120 yards, or 360 feet, or 24.49 2020 Kia Sportage XLs long. The end zone is the ultimate goal for offense or defense in this entire equation here. You want to be in this 10-yard zone, no matter where you are on the field. The ultimate goal is to get in this 10-yard zone. If you can't, you can either kick the ball in between the prongs to get some points. But we're more on that in a little bit. Next, we got two sidelines here. One hosts the home team, which would be in this case the Falcons, and the visiting team. We're going to use my Seahawks as an example. On either sideline is where the team who does not have players out at the moment will be residing. So say the Falcons offense is off on the field, the Falcons defense is going to be on the sideline, and vice versa. But hold on. How do you play the damn game? Offense and defense, right? We're going to look at this mostly from an offensive perspective, right? The offense has 4 tries to get 10 yards. Most of the time it's 3, but we'll get into that again in a second. You can move the ball those 10 yards by running or throwing the ball in a wide, vast, and complicated variety of ways. If you fail to get it within those 4 turns, it's the other team's turn now. They get to try and get their own 10 yards. If you failed to move the ball those 10 yards, let's say you only got 4 yards. Boom, we're on 2nd and 6 from as far as you got. So take 4 yards away from that. You start from here. Did you move the ball more than 10 yards? The ball next try will be from where you stopped. So if you throw the ball 20 yards or the running back runs the ball 20 yards from where the ball was, that is the new 10-yard mark. And your tries will reset. So your downs reset. Think of downs the same way of try. So now let's say you throw the ball and instead of going just 20 yards, he goes all the way down to that end zone. Congratulations, you just got a touchdown, Mr. Receiver, whoever got the ball. You get 6 points. Wait a minute, I always see them counting on the football whenever it's on the TV, it's counted by 7s. We're not done yet. What happens next is the kicking unit comes on. We'll get into this in a minute. And they kick for 1 point. That makes it 7. So that's where your 7s come in. But every touchdown, 6 points. So let's bring it back. We're on 3rd and 8, and we try again, and we get nowhere. Dang it, we're on 4th and 8. We kind of got 3 options. Option 1, punt the ball. When you punt the ball, you basically are setting the other team up as difficult as the punter can make it for them to go do what you were just trying to do, moving all the way down from one side of the field to the other. You just flip it on there. So now instead of you taking over from where the ball was, you punt the ball as far as you can get it, and now they have to try from, let's say, the other side of the field. If you're really close, or if you have enough faith in your kicker, he can try and kick the ball for an extra 3 points. Now, some teams don't want to do that. They want to go for it on 4th down. Some madmen live and die by going for it on 4th down, like this animal.
We're going to kick you in the teeth, all right? And when you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. And when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off.
And this guy who likes getting his butt touched. This is basically running another play, but it has a super high risk and a super high reward. The risk is if you turn it out, if you successfully make it over that yard line, boom, you got your next set of tries. You completely can flip the entire dynamic of a game to where you thought, they thought they were getting the ball back. No, it's still our ball. We control our own destiny. But if you fail, dang, if you're super close to your own end zone, sorry, bud. They just took over really close. They are within scoring range now. Going forward on 4th down is very situational, and you really only see the madmen I talked about earlier going for it on 4th down. But a lot of teams still do it just because, we only need like half an inch, really. So they go for it. And sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. Now, I did say earlier, there's offense and defense, right? Offense, I just explained. They want to get the ball down there. Defense wants to make sure that does not happen. So while failures of attempts for the offense to get it on fourth down, or on third down or second down, or to move the ball forward, is a success for the other team's defense. There's a few big plays that a defense can make, and I can really think of 3 off the top of my head. You got interceptions, fumbles, and sacks. All 3 of them contribute majorly to a defense's success. So I just said 3 words. What do they mean? An interception is when a quarterback throws the ball, intending for it to hit a receiver, but instead the defender swoops in and grabs it instead and runs it for however far he can get. However far he gets, that is where the offense will take back over. A fumble is similar to an interception, except most of the time it can happen to literally anybody, not just the quarterback threw a bad play or the receiver tipped the ball. A fumble is when you drop the ball, or it gets knocked out from under you, or someone punches the ball, because you have to hold it like this. Someone could just and ball's out on the ground. Don't want that to happen. And the last one is a sack. You mostly see this from the defensive line. However, you have some things where sometimes a different guy will get it. But the big guys up front, this is when a quarterback is taken down behind the line of scrimmage. We'll get onto that in a little bit, but whenever the quarterback goes down while holding the ball still. Now, the overall goal is to score more points than the opposing team, but let's get into that. Let's start on offense. We got the positions. We got the man in charge on the field. The guy who will always be the most talked about no matter what on your team. The quarterback. This is arguably the most difficult sport or position to play in all sports. This guy throws the ball, runs the offense. His job is to look at a defense and be like, this isn't going to work, or I see a perfect angle that I can take advantage of. And he usually has a really good arm, or he has a really smart IQ and he knows where and when to throw, and he's just really good at timing, or he's really good at accuracy. There's a million things that make a quarterback good. It depends on what you want out of your quarterback, though. Sometimes they run, like this guy Lamar Jackson, who's really good, and Josh Allen, this other guy who's really good, Mahomes, who's really good. But there's other guys like Joe Burrow. He doesn't really run, but he's really good. Matthew Stafford doesn't run, but he's pretty good. Running back. This guy's usually standing next to or behind the quarterback. This guy gets handed the ball, thrown the ball, and his job is to run. He runs hard, he runs heavy, he punches through people if he can. Sometimes he jumps out the way of people if he can. His job is to get from one point to the other as aggressively or as elusively as possible. But the quarterback and the running back really depend on one position group to be really good. And that is the big boys up front, the offensive line. These guys, this is usually a group of 5 guys, and they're positioned right in front of the quarterback, and their job is to make sure that the defensive line, we'll get into them in a second, doesn't get to the quarterback or gives the quarterback enough time to throw or opens up the right lanes for the running back. This is all extra stuff you don't need to know, but this is just the offensive line. If there's a bad offensive line, you will see it because the quarterback will be on the ground 90% of the game. A good offensive line can make some of the most mid-tier or bad quarterbacks and running backs look great. Next up, we got the wide receivers. These guys are fast. They're usually pretty slim, and they get open. That is their job. Run down there, get open, so if the quarterback needs to, he can chuck it to you, and you're wide open, buddy. Now, yes, the running backs and receivers catch passes, but there's one position group that has a little special place in almost everybody's heart, and that is the tight ends. Think of tight ends as taller running backs that catch the ball. They're usually used as an extra offensive lineman or a receiver. That's why you have them kind of bottled down into 2 categories. You have the blocking tight ends and the receiving tight ends. Both of them are great. Usually you have a good mix of both. That's why you aren't an offensive lineman and you aren't a receiver. You're a tight end. You're tight on the end of line. You're either a blocker or you're a receiver or an extra little receiver. These guys are usually very big or just tall or very large. And there's nothing wrong with that. We love our big boys up front. Common phrase you can think of for the offense is offense puts butts in seats. You're getting a lot of big name people coming in from college and all over the world to come and play offense most of the time. But something I think, in my opinion, is a little more important. And that is defense. The common phrase we hear all the time is, hey, defense wins championships. And we saw it right here in Super Bowl 60 with the Seahawks. So we're going to talk about first the upfront guys, the defensive line. These are your big boys up front. You can kind of split them into 2 categories. You got your D tackles, which are the 2 in the middle. There's usually about 4 on the field, but there's 2 in the middle and 2 on the outside. That's how it matches up. The 2 on the outside are usually called the edge rushers or the edge defenders, whatever you want to call them. They are the ones who are trying to get to the quarterback most of the time, but all 4 of these guys are really just trying to get to the quarterback. These are the ones that are typically getting sacks, and they sometimes, most of the time, unless you're like a really good corner or a really good safety or linebacker, are the ones winning the defensive player of the years because of just how impressive the numbers are and how effective you are on defense. Because you're the people that the quarterback sees first. He's not seeing the corner. He's seeing the defensive lineman right in his face. Now, I mentioned a couple other positions. We're going to get into those. These linebackers, these guys are usually right behind the defensive line. Sometimes they're blitzing if they're like, special, or if there's a special play called. But it's these linebackers. They are smart. They usually see everything. They're the guys usually on every play. Whenever there's someone that needs to be tackled, it's usually him. If it's a running back or if it's a receiver running a short route. But if it's not a receiver running a short route, it's a receiver running a long route, and that's why we got cornerbacks. The common joke about corners are that they're receivers that can't catch. And you know what? They fit the same mold. They're fast, usually pretty slim, and they get down there and they break up passes. They're the ones that are always running with your wide receivers as they're running down the field. Now we got safeties. Safeties and corners are usually called DBs, defensive backs, but they're a little different. Corners are usually like one-on-one, get in front of your face guys, where safeties are a lot better at, protecting a broader area. Think of these guys as your last line of defense, where if a play is going downfield, it's usually whatever corner was guarding that guy plus the safety that came in to help. Now, defense has their ways of scoring. They have a safety, which is when a quarterback or whoever is holding the ball gets tackled within their own end zone. So the 49ers running back gets tackled in the 49ers end zone. That's a safety. It's 2 points. We have a pick six, right? Pick six is when you get one of those interceptions or a fumbles, and the guy runs it all the way back to his end zone to score 6 points. And then the kicker comes out and he kicks for that 7. Now, there's one other thing that I'm not going to get too into the weeds of, but it's the special teams. You're going to see these guys mostly 2 to 3 times in 2 to 3 different types of ways. You have them when they're kicking an extra point after a touchdown. You have them when they're kicking a field goal, or when they're returning a punt, or punting or doing a punt return. This can make or break teams sometimes. It's rare when a punt return touchdown does happen, but sometimes, like for the Seahawks last year, it can save games. Now, one thing I want to talk about a lot, you're going to hear a lot about the coaches. The coaches make up a large reason as to why some of these teams are good. You have offensive gurus like Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay, but then you have defensive brain trust like Mike McDonald who can stop offenses. It's just think of the coaches as they're always playing chess. And the chess pieces are the football players. Now let's meet the teams. We have the NFC and AFC, the American Football Conference and the National Football Conference. That doesn't matter. They're just in the A or the N. Doesn't matter. But we got 4 divisions, North, South, East, West each, and 4 teams in each. Pretty simple. So we got a total of 32 teams. Now, how do you pick if you want to be a fan of one of these teams?
Oh, man, 32 pictures. That's a lot of teams. I don't know who to pick.
Shut up. Let's make this easy for you then. Does your mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or friend like a football team?
Be friends with them and follow that football team.
Don't have a family, friends, or you just want to be different?
Where are you from? Pick the team that's closest to you.
Got a favorite celebrity and they just married someone on one of the football teams?
Be a fan of that team.
Got a favorite color?
Every team has a bunch of colors. That's one of the guaranteed your favorite colors on there somewhere.
Unless it's pink. Did you go to college?
Pick a guy that went to your college that's on a team.
Don't want to do any of that? Throw a dart at the map and pick the team that's closest to the dart.
Stop being difficult. Just pick a team.
I say all this because they're going to show a bunch of different numbers and stats and things like YPA and EPA per play and DVOA. You don't need to know that if this is your beginning. Leave that to the nerds, and if you want to be a nerd like that one day, you can totally look into that. But if you just want a baseline understanding of how football works, this is basically how football works. And most of the time, if you sit back and you listen or just watch a game, you're going to be like, oh, wow, a passing yard is calculated from when the quarterback releases the football to where the football ended.
Wow, I'm learning.
I want to end this video by asking you, how did you get into football? And if this video was at all helpful, please let me know down in the comments. If you like this video and want a more in-depth fantasy football focus on this whole situation, click the video right here. Hopefully it's up by now. You can learn a little bit more about statistics and how fantasy works and stuff like that. I'm not going to go as in-depth in there on how the positions are because I did that in this video. But hopefully if you want to learn that, click this video right here. Okay, bye!